for your patience. We can go ahead and get it started.
All right, perfect. So if you did just get here, I think it looked like 6 people joined since we started recording. But just again, I'm Miss Howard. We have Mr. Burrows on here, Miss Yamofio, and this chat and chew is about course registration. So we'll just dive right in. February 26th, which is Monday, is kind of the beginning of the whole course registration timeline. So that is when the courses that are going to be offered, that list of classes is going to be published. So this gives families the opportunity to kind of peruse, see what's going to be offered, and start thinking about how you want to build that class list out. So yeah, that'll be available on Monday, February 26th. You have a few days to think that over. And then, of course, teachers will begin recommending their placements for students, right? Whether that's college prep, honors, AP. So that is going to be due February 29th, which of course is the end of next week. And you'll also have access to be able to view this on Maxess. Don't worry if you're hoping, for your student to take maybe some APs, maybe some honors, and they're not necessarily recommended by the teacher. That isn't, the end all be all. You will have the opportunity to kind of appeal that process just by reaching out to Mr. Shryock, Mr. Flynn, and starting that conversation, seeing, what are some movements we're going to be able to make for them, even if they weren't recommended for honors or AP. That following week, March 4th through 8th, which is where students are going to request their courses. Of course, we're asking that, this be a collaborative process. We don't want students just going in by themselves, clicking 8 classes, right? We want these to be conversations that are, maybe driven by the families, right? We want to be able to chime in too as the counselors, but we want you guys to definitely have an active role in figuring out what classes, your student is going to take next year. So we hope that you'll do that and then have that turned in by March 8th. Sorry, I made my view smaller. And then following that, we are going to be meeting with students. This is going to be a one-on-one basis. We'll pull them to the side. We're going to be looking at their transcripts, seeing what is it that you've taken, what do you still need to take, and then, of course, what are the things that you want to take that are going to be kind of appealing to the person who's eventually going to read their college application, right? So we just like you to keep in mind, let's say, just for instance, your student has a major in mind. We want to be showing that that interest was there. It didn't just get there when they start their college applications, but we want to start having them in those classes that kind of relate to those majors that they may already be thinking about. And that's going to be March 11th through 15th. And again, feel free to drop your messages, your questions in the chat. We're getting to them as fast as we can. This chart or table you may have seen a few times already. It basically details what are the graduation requirements. So we know we need 4 years of English, math, social studies, and theology. Only 3 years of science. But like I said on the previous slide, if your student is maybe interested in going into something STEM, something science related, we don't want them to necessarily stop at 3 years because you're wanting to, just kind of show and demonstrate your interest in particular subject matters that are possible majors for your students in the future. 2 years of modern and classical language. If the student is looking to do something to major or to go to a college that's really competitive, again, you want to be showing, I'm going above what's just the requirement, right? I'm not stopping at 2, maybe I'm taking 3 years of a foreign language. A year and a half of PE, which is just 2 PE classes and then 1 half a credit of health. A year's worth of fine arts, a year's worth of technology, Gateway Seminar, which is half a credit, they take freshman year. Of course, if you have a transfer student, that's going to be waived. They wouldn't have taken Gateway Seminar because they weren't here. And then 2 electives. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. So this is a sample course of study, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders. So everyone on this call is a rising 12th grader. So as you can see, the 12th grade, there's certain courses that are everyone have will be English, math, social studies, theology, and then those electives. So if a student didn't take, let's say they didn't take their full gym credit, they may take it then. They may take a tech credit or just take whatever kind of classes they want to take that they enjoy. I did see a question in the chat about half day. There are no half days, so a student would have to fill it up with an elective. Now, a student can be in senior privilege, and if it's at the end of the day, they can turn in a form to Ms. Fennell to leave early during that period, which is the last period of the day, but not half a day. And then, as you see at the top, it mentions that languages have taken 2 consecutive years. A third year is suggested for certain selected, highly selected colleges and universities. So just make sure the student to take those two. And again, we as counselors have gone through everyone's transcript from the prior year and this year as well. So we kind of know what they need to take going into their 12th grade year. All right, and this is just, again, science. We have a minimum of 3 credits. Typically what students take, like bio first, chemistry, and then they get to choose 11th, 12th grade year what to take. Again, it looks different for transfer students because they may have taken in different orders. But again, we'll work individually with students and parents on that. And then as far as it comes to major, one thing we suggest or recommend that if a student is going into a STEM related field or a science related field, they probably should take a 4th year of science. Right. And then the tech and engineering, this is 1 credit between 9th and 12th grade the students need to take. So they already took their full credit. They don't need to take it again, but they can. The classes on here, the artificial intelligence and intro to quantum computing are college level courses. The students could take typically as an independent study course outside of the school day.
All right, so let's talk about math. Your child will be taking their next level and their last level of high school math. So I know it's a lot here when you're looking at all of the arrows. But as you can see here, these are the recommended courses based off of the class that they're currently in, the math class that they're currently in 11th grade. So their teachers will recommend them for the next class. Now, if there needs to be a conversation, we can definitely have a conversation about different alternatives. But I'll say for the most part, they're on a track already that's leading them to their next math. All right, so let's talk about fine arts. This is the last time your child is registering. So if they've been in fine arts, or if they just started fine arts this year, they're going to register for the same level of fine art. So if they're in dance 2, they're going to register for dance 2 again because they haven't auditioned yet. Once they audition, then the teacher is going to recommend that next level of what they're going into. And so the counselors will change it on our end. So when the students are registering, they'll, just make it easy. So it'll have a complete list of classes. By the way, we want students to register for at least 8 classes, but we are going to ask for 2 or 3 alternates just because sometimes electives sometimes change. Sometimes there's only 1 or 2 classes offered, and it may be 60 people who registered for an elective with only 30 spots. So we want your child to have other alternatives as well, so they can keep that in mind. And that will be on the course bulletin when it's published at the end of February. Now, we will take questions. So some questions we might answer live verbally, some we might answer in the chat, but feel free to, still type your questions in the chat and we will get to them.
So I do see a question in chat that a parent asked about A student interested in specific colleges, we'd be able to advise them on what they should take, what they should take for the college. And yes, so we meet with our students individually, and based on like what they may mention and what different colleges have on their website, what classes they look forward to, or a student at least achieving. And then depending on the major, we can guide them to like, okay, you should take this class, or if you've taken 2 APs this year, maybe challenge yourself with 3. If you're taking 1 AP this year, maybe challenge yourself with 2. So we can always kind of push the student in the right direction based on the schools they are looking at.
And we have a question in the chat. Can they take less than 8 credits in their senior year? Yes, they can, because they can have a senior priv, which, is that free period. So out of 4 classes each day. So let's just say first semester, they have senior priv, first semester, senior priv, second semester. So that's all together, that's 7 classes. So, we highly encourage that, especially in the fall, when they are doing their college applications and they need some time to do that. There's a question about a summer course schedule. Ms. Lewis, could you please clarify? Did you mean like summer school, or their schedule, like their schedule that they're going to have? Like, did you mean that?
And while she explains, I do see a couple questions about senior priv. So senior privilege is like study hall, it's considered a free period for students. A lot of times students do senior priv if they do it in the fall for like they doing college applications, scholarships, things like that. Or if they want to kind of talk with a teacher. Typically, if they have senior priv at the end of the day, so 4th period or 8th period, they can elect to go home or leave early for that period because it is a free period.
There's also a question, I think it's Miss Barnes Loveday. She was asking about the requirement for AP teachers. I'd also need some clarification on if you meant like the process to like apply for AP classes, or I'm not sure what you meant by your question.
And yes, you can take senior privilege for one period each semester. Yes, if it fits in their schedule. Do seniors receive priority when it comes to enrolling in classes? No, they don't, because everyone is on the same playing field. Now let's say if a senior needed a PE, they needed something to graduate, then somebody else could be bumped out, like if a 9th or 10th grader isn't in the class, and a senior needed it and the class was over enrolled, then that would be when they get preference. But starting out, everyone's on the same playing field. They put in their course selections. The only priorities that they're getting is the same priorities that all the students are getting, meaning their core classes. So how the computer system works is, they're prioritizing the classes that they need to graduate. So if there's a, global studies class happening at the same time as a fine arts class that they may not need, it's going to prioritize the class they need to graduate, especially if it's happening at the same period. So all students put in their courses, and then there's, with the click of a button, the system divvy students up into different periods. It's a large formula that the computer does, and so that's how that works. And so then that's when the course requests, the schedule change request comes in, and then the human side, the counselors will go in and then manipulate the schedules. As far as the process for senior priv, the students just select it in course registration. They just select senior priv. Now, if a student happens to get on academic probation, if they have less than a 2.3 GPA, then, after the first quarter, they could be knocked down to study hall and they won't have as many privileges. But, all seniors have access to senior priv. From my understanding, pre-calculus is being offered this summer.
And I see a parent asked about, can students take summer classes outside of McNamara? So typically in the past, students have taken like pre-calc over the summer, but if we offer it here, they wouldn't necessarily have to need it to take calculus their senior year. Now, that's the only kind of class they can take outside of McNamara that'll actually count towards something here. Like they can't take an English class somewhere and it counts toward like their English credit, or a social studies class somewhere and it counts toward their social studies credit. It was just the main thing that students have taken in the past was to take pre-calc so they can, skip and jump to calculus their senior year. And there'll be more information out about that course over the summer after we hear back from the department chair within the math department. And then I know the question parent asked about AP class and AP faculty. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. We will make sure we send this question to administration and get back to you on feedback about that.
Okay, someone asked a question about college expos. College is definitely our jam. There are a lot virtual happening. I just got an email from, I think it was Macedonia Baptist Church. They're having a college fair as well. So we will put those in the Sunday updates, because anybody can go 9th through 11th grade or even 12th grade. But there are some virtual fairs coming up and in-person fairs, and we will send that information out as well. It's about that time. So I'm just gonna say it verbally because I answered it in the chat, but we will have college application workshops this summer. And so we will send out that schedule as well for students to be able to sign up for that. In the past, it's been 3 days, an hour and a half each day, where we're delving into the process. Of course, they don't have to wait until the summer. Students can make appointments with us. Parents, you can make appointments. We all have a Calendly. So we'll send that out to you all. So you can just pick the dates and times that work for you all. I am unsure when senior pictures are taken, but Mr. Brower would know about that as well. So his email is also in the chat, brian.brower@bmhs.org. Thank you, Ms. Matheson, for letting us know about the HBCU College Fair this weekend. Yeah, feel free if anyone else wants to share any other resources. In reference to the electives offered this year, we will see that in the course bulletin. The course bulletin is still being curated, so we are excited about the additional electives that students will have, and even just some of the updates for next year. I think you all are gonna really like it, so stay tuned. Colleges, parents can absolutely view BMHS's school profile. That is actually on our website as well, the school profile that colleges get. Peer ministry is an elective course, yes. Guess we will be wrapping up. If there are no other questions, you can always feel free to send us an email or give us a call, and then we can talk one-on-one. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you for being here, and congratulations to you all for having Rising Seniors. You have done a great job. So thank you. Your students are amazing, and they are a joy. They are a joy to interact with every single day. So thank you, Ms. Howard, for sending the school profile link in the chat. Any updates to the course bulletin, you will see it when it comes out, any updates, any classes that were added or removed. Thank you all so much, and we will send this presentation. Have a good evening or good afternoon, good evening, good week and weekend.
Thank y'all.
A good one.